But some people come in expecting to see their galactic. They're like, I am a starseed. I know, I want to know who my star family is. And then they take you to a farm life on Earth.
Yeah.
And so they can be disappointed because they had those expectations, but those galactics are showing you that for a reason. So come back. You know, sometimes it's come back. You have many, many lives, but just simply trust that the first thing they show you is the most important.
Welcome to Tapping In. Today, we are going to uncover the subconscious mind. We're going to connect to past lives, future timelines, and even your galactic roots. I have the wonderful hypnotherapist Mayra Rath with us today. She is amazing. She helps you to unlock that hidden wisdom inside of you and connect to gifts you never knew you had. And she's going to give us a ton of information on how to connect parts of your past lives back to you. I can't wait for you to meet her. Welcome, Mayra.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So tell me about, people are really curious about what actually happens during a past life regression session with you.
That's a great question because most people get very nervous, and really it's mimicking how you go to sleep at night, right? And how you go into the dream state. You're just a little bit more conscious. So when you're actually seeing the impressions, it is like a dream and you're just narrating your own dream. That's probably the best way I can describe it. You're just going to be very relaxed and start to see pictures or impressions. Some people see moving pictures. For everyone, it's different.
How can someone's trauma or fears be healed by visiting another lifetime?
So it's always going to be relevant. What is shown to you is relevant. So if you have certain fears, it could be fear of driving, fear of swimming, fear of heights. Generally, you're going to go right to that place where the fear is coming from. And it just helps to desensitize you. The healing just takes place automatically. It starts to release. I don't know how much more I can say about that.
No, it's amazing. So, for example, if I say drowned in a past life, right, and I have a session with you and that comes up for me during this session, is it kind of like I get to see myself in that space and all the energy starts to become like realigned, so to speak, like cleared up?
Yes. It's just like that. You're gonna see yourself, but you're not you. You're in another body, sometimes a different gender. And I tend not to take my clients right to that traumatic day.
Okay.
We like to learn about who you were prior to, and then sort of lead up to where that trauma came from.
Amazing. And then what I think is really cool is you take all that information into this life. So now when I'm around water, I'm not going to get triggered the same way because I understand where it came from.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's incredible.
Feels so much lighter.
And then what happens in the in-between? Like, because sometimes you go to a past life. Is there another place you guys visit when you're having a session with your clients?
Yes, you do. So we always take you to the last day of your life. It's important to see how that life ended. And a lot of clients also have a fear of death. So this actually helps to,
kind of calm that part
Calm
down.
that part of you. Yes. And then you just float up. And this is when we bring in your guides.
So can you walk us through a tip or a technique if I wanted to see a past life on someone just like walking by or sitting next to me that I could use to kind of tap into that frequency?
So, of course, there's also the fact that maybe you need permission.
Okay, so first, ask permission.
Yeah, permission is important to tap in. I have practiced without.
Yes.
I will admit that. But so, for instance, I had an experience where I went to have a pedicure. And, I'm just so relaxed having this pedicure, and that naturally puts you into an alpha state when you're relaxed. And this lovely woman is just pampering my feet. And I remembered the technique that I had been taught, which is just really connecting with your guides, getting into, that meditative just breathe deeply. And, you know, I closed my eyes for a moment just to set the intention. But then I opened my eyes and I connected with her crown chakra. Okay. So as she's lower than me, because she was working on my feet, I'm just sort of looking above her head and beyond that, and just focus and ask for impressions. And I immediately started receiving impressions of her past life as a man. And it was really interesting because he was sort of bent over in the same manner as she was, and I heard the ticking of the clocks. It was a room, a tiny little room filled with clocks, and I can hear the ticking of that. And he was wearing a monocle, working on either watches or clocks, but he had little parts and pieces, and he was working on that. And I just found that really amazing. He was wearing, I can still see it.
I know, that's the cool part.
That I can still see it. And he was wearing like brown tweed, a suit, of course. They dressed so well back in the day. And he was wearing this tweed suit, brown hair, and I want to say like handlebar mustache.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you tell her what you saw?
I tried, and she didn't speak English. And, well, she was someone I didn't ask permission.
Yeah, you're like,
I didn't ask permission.
Yeah,
it was just a little practice.
Now, do you just see the past life, or do you also get a message for the person?
Messages are a little bit more rare. I see a lot more.
That makes sense.
But on occasion, yes, I might get something that I know is not for me.
Right. Yeah. And then can you tell the difference between it being, say, your imagination and an image coming to you that's a past life?
Practice. And it's really just getting out of your head. Again, going back to the heart space, right? Especially when you're asking. What I tell people during past life regression is when I ask you a question, it's the first answer. You're so tuned in, you're so relaxed, and it's almost like you're a radio signal, right? Okay. Imagine having these antennas, right? And so when I ask you a question like, what do they call you? What might be your name? And some get a name, and it's the first thing you hear. So just say it. Just trust and say the first thing that comes to you. And then while others, they may hear a name, but then backstroke and create doubt, and you're just inviting your ego into the conversation. So
I love that.
Yeah.
One thing that I do when I want to see a past life for myself is I will look in the mirror and I will just I usually pick my left eye, and I will just gently look at my eye, and I kind of do a soft focus, and a face will all of a sudden come over my actual face. At first, that really freaked me out. Yes. And I didn't know what was happening. But through the years of researching, I realized, oh my gosh, these are past lives. And it's really cool when all of a sudden you kind of open up that dimension.
Yes.
And then again, I think asking
I'll have to try that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I have to remind myself too, as the image is coming forward, to breathe through it, because sometimes it could scare you, especially if it doesn't look human, or, it looks totally different, right? It can kind of startle you.
It can.
Right. But it's the practice that you're in control and that it's okay. And this is coming through maybe to give me a message, right? There's a reason why this.
Always a reason. And just simply trust. A lot of people come to see me because they want to connect with their galactic roots, their star family. And, I think it's wonderful that people are open to it, while others come to me thinking that they're going to have this little earth life.
Yes.
And lo and behold, they're seeing themselves as a blue being, and they're on a spaceship. And it's just incredible. I would say about 35% of my clients are seeing lives on other planets.
I think, is that more common right now? I feel like the galactic, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the galactic energy, people speaking light language, doing the energy sculpting, like everything, the technology that's coming through feels very galactic recently in the mindfulness community.
Yes. I would say yes. And there are some people that want it so badly.
Yes.
we can't control where you're going to go unless you have a fear and you say, I have a fear of driving. I cannot drive. And easy to help you with that. But some people come in expecting to see their galactic. They're like, I am a starseed. I want to know who my star family is. And then they take you to a farm life on Earth.
Yeah.
And so they can be disappointed because they have those expectations. But those galactics are showing you that for a reason. So come back. Sometimes it's come back. You have many, many lives. But just simply trust that the first thing they show you is the most important.
I always find that interesting. Yeah.
It really is. You had it today.
I did. I was just like, what? Farm life again? Oh, when was I a queen? Do you believe that we choose our lives before we were born?
Yes, we do. And that's a whole other session called Life Between Lives.
Okay.
And you're able to actually see yourself in the planning phases of what your next incarnation is going to look like. And so for many, you're choosing the body, you're choosing your features. Of course, you're choosing your parents. It's a whole soul family decision. And it takes a while it's a lot of moving parts. There are also soul groups that work with other soul groups so that they can be sort of not background people, but maybe your coworkers, things like that, where soul groups, someone in another soul group might volunteer to be a supervisor that maybe doesn't treat you right. And they'll raise their hand and say, I'll do that. I'll do that for you. And you're just not aware of all the moving parts in your life. But I like to call them sort of signposts along the way of your lessons that that you agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I always find that interesting because sometimes when you're here, you're like, well, why didn't I choose to say be beautiful? Or why didn't I choose to be rich? Or why didn't I choose?
Yeah.
And if you really tap into that energy, there's a whole story and lessons attached. Like for somebody that's just say gorgeous, right? They may be getting constant attention that they don't want. They're dealing with people putting them in a certain box that they don't want to be in. Like whatever those lessons are, you're like, oh, I already did those lessons, or I don't need those types of lessons.
That's right.
Right. So when I think of putting all your features together and putting your family together, it kind of comes with these little lessons. That's how I kind of imagine it is.
And I want to say you probably were beautiful. You probably were rich, right? You've checked so many boxes in all the lifetimes, multiple lifetimes. And that doesn't even, address other realities, right? Because there are other realities of Earth. There's other versions of Marisa. There's other versions of Mayra, right? All having different experiences. It's not just this reality, it's many. And we tap into those realities in dreams too. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. How do you think we slide our consciousness into those different realities? Like if I think of myself being somewhere else and I'm happier, or I'm living in Europe or whatever, I'm doing something completely different. I always wonder when we snap into that reality, like what happens to this one, so to speak? You know what I mean? Because I feel like a video game, like you're kind of sweeping in and out of these different dimensions.
You can't, well, okay. Yes, you can. You're sort of jumping, but I'm speaking about other, okay, so here's, let's say you're 23 and you're engaged, and then you decide, I don't want to marry this guy.
Okay.
So you have free will to do that. But the higher self wants both experiences. So there's a split there. And these major decisions, where you're going to go to school, move or not move, the higher self wants it all. Well, why can't I move to Paris or Italy or stay here? So each time there's constant splitting of like fractals of yourself that are splitting into all these realities. I've actually, in meditation, in deep theta, I have seen other spouses that I have, and very lucid, where I will look at them and say, ew.
Right. How did I get you?
And I'm very aware that I just jumped into another timeline. I'm very, very aware of it. And I don't like who he is. And it makes me appreciate my life so much more. But there's so much mystery out there that we aren't aware of.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then sometimes you'll have dreams. Maybe you're at a party, right? And you're at this party and everyone knows you, but you're like, who are these people I'm at, and it feels like I have this boyfriend, but I don't know him. That's another reality.
Right. I've had that dream before.
Yes.
Where I kind of jumped into this wormhole, and then I was sitting in a room and everybody was talking to me like they knew me. And I thought to myself, who do they think I am right now? And who are these people? And then I ended up, again, moving out of that world. But again, I was like, that was so real. And that was crazy.
That is the multiverse. I mean, there's just so many versions of you out there. It's crazy.
I hope you can't imagine. Great out there.
I know.
Sometimes when I feel as though I'm talking to myself, or I get these jolts of sadness or anxiousness, sometimes I wonder if that's me in another timeline having that experience. And then I'll try to be that inner voice that's their cheerleader. So instead of being a critic, I'm like, hey, I feel that you're anxious right now.
Yes.
I want you to know that it's okay and you're doing great and it doesn't matter. I still love you. And I try to be a positive inner voice for them. And sometimes when that happens, I feel this almost like a deeper flood of love flowing through me.
Oh, yes. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think it helps me then keep my thoughts in alignment when we start to feel like we're being harsh on ourselves.
We can be.
Right. What are some surprises that you have found being a hypnotherapist?
There are countless. Doing this work for 25 years, it's there's so many, but there's one that I kind of want to bring up because it really was remarkable. I had 2 clients see me 6 months apart, both online. One in LA, one in Connecticut, and these sessions were not shared, so they had never heard it. And in the first one, she went to a planet. She was an Arcturian council member, very important. And when I took her to an important day, she was in a stadium of some sort, and there were thousands, 100,000s of Arcturians in the stadium, while she was up on stage with a few other council members. She described as this light radiating out into, they were communicating with everyone. When I asked her, what is this meeting about? What are you conveying? And it was all about coming to Earth. Everyone in that stadium was coming to Earth to have an Earth life to help. Right? So 6 months later, I've done now hundreds of other sessions in between. And I have this young lady in Connecticut, and she also goes to a planet in Arcturus. When I took her to an important day, she says, I feel like I'm in a stadium of some sort, like an arena. And we're sitting and it's very exciting. We feel so much excitement. And it started sounding familiar to me because you just don't forget.
God, I'm getting goosebumps. It feels so good.
I'm telling you. And when I asked what they were saying, she says, we're going on a mission. She seemed so bright about her future.
Yeah.
And she says, we're going on a mission. And I said, a mission where? She says, to Earth, of course. And it was just this moment that I felt very chosen at that moment as a practitioner to make this connection. What were the chances of me taking these two strangers and that they chose me as their practitioner to go to this place? And it was just so beautiful. And what a beautiful message to hear how many of them actually are here currently.
Confirmation.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, confirmation. Now,
Yes.
did you have them meet or connect with each
No,
other?
but you can listen to, I combined these sessions back to back.
Oh, that's smart.
So you can actually listen to one, go through hers, and then the second one, so you can hear the similarities,
That's pretty cool.
especially of that memory in the stadium.
That's amazing. I almost feel like bringing those two people together to see if they can almost meditate and if something would happen in alignment, like can they
Yes.
unlock some code within themselves to kind
It's
of,
beautiful.
I'm just like, that sounds so
It really is
magical,
incredible.
right? It's like, you're Octarians.
Yes.
You've come so far. Can you see each other? I wonder if they do a meditation together.
I
Like,
know.
It's
I
like a whole
know.
other, it's like a whole other book or a whole other episode.
It was exciting. But that was something that was just like, wow. Like, wow. I have so many wow sessions that are just incredible. But that one was validation.
Yeah, that's great.
And not here, of an event that is actually taking place on another planet, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to connect to a past life and it's just me hanging out at home, what are some tips you can give me to kind of connect to?
Definitely, there are past life meditations that you can do on YouTube. There's so much you can do. There's nothing like having a private session, as you just had one.
Incredible.
Where it is you're actually able to talk, and working with a practitioner is important, especially if you're going to see something traumatic. Someone doesn't know how to handle or navigate through that. So it's important to set intentions when you're doing a past life meditation.
Okay.
To set an intention to show you something light. You don't want to work through trauma by yourself. You're not going to really know. That's really important advice.
So most of the time people are looking at past lives, but what about our future selves? Can you also have a session with you where we can see that?
Absolutely. We can, instead of going to a past life, we can go to a future life just as easy. And some people do choose to do that.
Do I have to set intentions beforehand?
You could, but it's also part of the induction.
Okay.
I'll just take you to a future life
Oh.
by adding those little seeds. And you will, like this, a future door will open. There is also the concept of going to your future life, which I have done some of the times when a client is sort of in a crossroads. They're like, should I move? Should I not? What would my life look like? Okay. So I would take them to maybe 5 years, 10 years, a future scene. And what we're just showing them is a possibility, because there are so many possibilities, but that could be enough for them. That is like, wow, I can see myself living there, and their partner or their spouse is there. I've had some people actually see themselves with a child where they are childless, and the future just holds so much promise for them. So it's pretty interesting.
It's actually a cool way to manifest also, I feel like, a future that you want. It's almost because you went backwards, right? Like, I saw this future part of me. I love how everything looks, and you start to activate all those feelings.
Yes.
Right? So it makes it a nice, clean road for me to, you know what I mean? It gives me a nice roadmap for me to follow. So
Yes, yes, it does.
That's actually a very powerful session to have.
It would be. But remember, always stay open that there's nothing concrete.
Right.
That you're simply seeing a possibility.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And you just choose that road. How do I get from here to there? Right? And so you can continue to see it in your mind's eye. And as you know, we are wonderful manifestors, so you can do it. Yeah.
That's cool. So I'm just curious, because I know you do past lives, you do future lives. With the hypnotherapy, is there other areas that you help people in? Like, is it just like somebody comes to see you because I want to be hypnotized, because I want to be healed in a certain way? Or is it more people just coming to you because they're curious about their past lives?
It's a little bit of both, really. There's people that come for fears. Some people are just curious and open, but even when you're curious, you're going to receive. It's never what you expect. Let's put it that way. Never what you expect. So throw that out.
Okay.
Some people do want to come for trauma, soul trauma. They feel there's certain behaviors, certain patterns. Why am I this way? Why do I react? Some people come to me because they don't get along with a certain person in their family. It's like, what did I ever do to them? And that's very, very eye-opening, because I can take you right to the place where the issue is coming from in a past life. There is a particular session where my client and her sister were just pretty awful to each other for years. But she became very curious. It's like, what did I ever do? And when I took her to that past life, she was able to see where it was coming from. And she saw that my client, she was like the slave master, and her sister was one of the slaves. And I won't go into great detail because there are some trigger warnings on that session. But you can only imagine the energy imprint that is left from having that experience.
Now, is that what people call karma?
Yes,
in a way.
Clearing karma. And some people have said, well, okay, now she knows that, now what?
Right.
It's really going to help her to be more patient, compassionate, and kind when she's dealing with her sister, right? Whereas sometimes she just wanted to give up. It's like, why do I keep trying?
Right.
Now she's coming more from a loving space because she wants to make it up. She needs to be more kind and patient with her sister.
I love that. It's almost like you're seeing the bigger picture for the lesson, right? Because
that's right.
In life, we see things so close, right? Like, oh, she bugs me. She triggers me. She's a bad person. Or I'm right. She's wrong. All of that little bit.
Yes.
Whereas I feel like once you have some of these sessions where you can open up, it gives you, it reminds you of what is the lesson. How can we heal this? How can I be better? How can I be more loving? How can we clear this up? Because I don't want to repeat this again.
That's right. We don't. And that's another thing people always like, I don't want to come back to Earth. I am done with Earth lives. This is not what I want to do. And of course, that's the human part of us that is conveying that. The human part, it's like, I'm done coming to Earth. Send me somewhere else.
Yeah.
But the soul disagrees. The soul decides.
Yeah.
And the soul is a high achiever. Like they like to set the bar. They really do. So you end up coming back time and time again.
Thank you, Mayra, for being with us today. You had so much great information. It was truly a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Marisa. This was fun.
Until next time, you guys, keep tapping in. If you want more, please join our community at marisagrieko.com.